Hi everyone, good evening again. So we are continuing the topic magnetic effect of electric current. So magnetic effect of electric current was started yesterday. In the previous session we have studied about what is magnetism, what is a magnet and its magnetic field. When electricity flows in a conductor, that is in a wire, we come to know that the magnetic field is created around that conductor or around that wire. So this is called magnetic effect of electric current. And we also studied that the earth itself acts as a magnet, isn't it? Because in the center of the earth we can imagine a suspended bar magnet, and this is because of the fluids which are flowing inside the earth is creating the magnetic field. Since the fluid is flowing, it is creating a charge there, and wherever electric charges flow, we can see the magnetic field is created. And we also studied how to draw the magnetic field for a bar magnet using two concepts. One is using the iron fillings, the other one is using the compass. Compass is a magnetic device where it has a pivoted pointer in the middle which basically points towards the north, and using that we plotted the magnetic field. So far we have studied these topics. Hope you all are revising that. Now let us move on further. The next concept is electromagnet or electromagnetism. So as we know, magnetism means it attracts, it is a kind of force. It either pushes or pulls. When does it pushes? When there are like poles, it repels. But if there is unlike poles, it attracts. That is magnetism. But how can we create magnet or a magnetic field using electricity? So, which is already studied, but this concept is used widely in many devices like electric motors, electric generators, magnetic levitation trains, which is present in Japan, not in our country. So magnetic trains, cranes, electric bells, so many equipments uses this concept electromagnet. So how can we define this? When a conductor carries current, it induces magnetism. It's the same definition we are using repeatedly. When a conductor carries current, it induces magnetism around it, isn't it? Around it. So this creation of force or the force created is called electromagnetism, and the device is known as electromagnet. Fine. The same definition we are redefining, and we are telling what is an electromagnet. So a current flowing in a wire always gives rise to magnetic field around it. That magnetic field is making that object as electromagnet. Now let us take a small iron piece, okay? And around that iron piece or to that iron piece you supply electricity. After few seconds that iron piece gets converted as a magnet. Before connecting electricity, the iron piece was not attracting other iron pieces, okay? It was not attracting. Now after conducting electricity to that iron piece, it gets transformed as a magnetic material. So this is called electromagnetism. The process it is called electromagnetism. This device now for temporary it is called as electromagnet. It is not a permanent concept, because once you stop supplying the electricity, then the object will lose its magnetism. It will come back to its original position. Before what it was a iron piece. So it comes back to its original chemical property or physical property. Only when electricity is supplied, this gets converted as an electromagnet. Okay, and uses of electromagnet. So it is used in electric motors. Motors are used in vehicles, generators, etc. Then it is used in magnetic levitation trains, which is present in Japan and other countries. It is the fastest trains. For example, the Indian Railway has the track system. The trains go on the track. So this will create friction. isn't it? When the train goes on the track, both the wheels and the track meet together and it creates friction. Therefore, it can only cover about 100 or 120 kilometers per hour. But the magnetic levitation trains which are present in Japan, the maglev trains, they can cover 600 kilometers per hour. Why? Because they don't go on the track. If this is the track, the train goes above it. There is gap between the train and the track. You might get confused. How is that, ma'am? Because of the weight of the train, won't that fall on the track? Yes. They have designed in such a way that the whole weight of the train and the passenger can be withstanded by this magnetism. Let us say the track has north pole, the train has south pole. The train has north pole. Both are repelling. Okay, they both never touches together. Let this slide off. Okay, it's a beautiful concept, magnetic levitation, and more like that, some more like that. Okay, now let us go to the next topic. We have understood the definition of electromagnet. So further, we need to conduct an experiment. That experiment will demonstrate us that how the current is creating the magnetic effect around any particle. So far I was telling you, there is an object, we pass electricity for that, and this gets converted into an electromagnet. How is that happening? So let us do an experiment for that. Okay, so first, and this experiment is also called as Oersted's experiment. First, we need a current carrying conductor. Let us say this is the switch, this is the shell, the battery or any connection. The positive and the negative terminals are marked here, and we have a switch here. Okay, switch can be represented like this. When the connection is touched, it means the circuit is on. If the connection is open, then the circuit is not on. Okay, it's a open circuit. Now, let us say this is A and B, and now this is the circuit when it is not switched on. The same circuit when it is switched on, that is the switch is touched. Okay, now the current starts flowing. When it starts flowing, now you keep a pointer here, okay, that is one compass. Okay, it will not do any deflection, it will just remain the same. The same compass, if you keep here, it starts showing the deflection. It starts showing deflection because here we are inducing an electric rod, we can say iron piece is induced. Okay, this is an iron rod. The electricity was not flowing, so there was no deflection. Now, in that same iron rod, the electricity starts moving, and when the electricity starts moving, the magnetic field is created. Because of that magnetic field, let us say this is also north field. Okay, we know, yesterday we have studied the lines of magnetic field comes from the north and ends to the south. So it is coming from the north. Even the pointer here is north. Both of them will not meet together, they will repel. That is why the pointer is moving. Same thing, if you keep it here, it will show the deflection. So this is an experiment which tells us that for any magnetic material like iron piece, if you conduct electricity, then that material gets transformed itself as an electromagnet. And this is the experiment. Now, after this experiment, what is an observation that we can do? Observation is, you come down to some results, isn't it? Now let us see what are those results. What does this deflection tell us? If it is deflecting, which means magnetic field is created. Okay? If the compass needle shows deflection means that movement of the needle. Deflection, it means there is a magnetic field present. Okay, there is a magnetic field present. Then, now let us say in that same conductor, I passed the current clockwise. It went from the positive and then we came here. Now let us switch the current, means let us change the direction of flow of the current. So this way, then what happens? The deflection comes opposite. So if you change, if the current is reversed, even the deflection is opposite. Then the deflection is opposite. Deflection is opposite. Opposite means, what do you understand? Which means the magnetic field lines are changing its direction. Correct? See, before we had from north to south. Now the north comes this side. This is the movement from north to south. This is the north, this is the south. Earlier it was south from the top, north from the top and south at the bottom. Now it got changed. So what do we understand? If the current is reversed, the deflection is opposite. This means magnetic field is also deflected, changed or reversed. We can say reversed. Okay. Now, further we have some more observations. Let's see what is it. Experiment is simple, but there are many observations that we can do. So a concealed current carrying conductor can be located due to magnetic effect of current by using a plotting compass. If we didn't have a compass, we could have not noticed what was present around a current carrying conductor. So it is the compass which is helping us to determine the magnetic field. Now, using that same materials, we can change the strength of the magnetic field. See, let us say, suppose you have 5 fruits in front of you. If you eat one fruit, you get some amount of energy. The more and more the fruits you eat, the more and more energy you get. Correct? It is directly proportional. The more you eat, more is the energy. Directly proportional. Now let us say you have more chocolates in front of you. The less chocolates you eat, the more energy you retain, or the more healthy you stay. More and more chocolates if you keep on eating, then your health gets upset. So here also there are some factors. If you want to make the magnetic field strong or the strength to be more powerful, you need to change some things in the arrangement of the circuit. Let us understand what is it. So there are 3 methods. Now, when I used a conductor here, I had only simple wire which was arranged in rectangle shape. We can arrange that in 3 different shapes. One is straight line, other one is circular loop, then the third one is called solenoid. Okay, I'll tell you what is it. Straight line is, you have one wire here and the current passes. Okay, the current keeps moving and you experience the magnetic field around it. There is a wire, you can keep this way or you can keep this way. When you pass current through this wire, you can see the magnetic field creating around. There is one more kind of arrangement. You can take a circular wire. The same wire, you make it into a circle. Okay. Connect that circle to a battery. Earlier, this was connected to a battery here. Let us imagine. Okay. It cannot be like that. It should be a complete circuit. So here what happens? Here also we experience the magnetic field. Then what do you mean by solenoid? Solenoid is take that same straight line but make it as coil figure in between. Then you connect it. So did you understand what is the difference between different shapes? Straight line is this one, circular loop is this one, solenoid is the same straight line but we make little bit of curves or coils in between. For example, a spring which is present in your pen. Okay, now which is more powerful? Let us understand. Let us take each case and understand. First one, taking a straight conductor or a straight line of wire, how is this current going, magnetic field going to vary? Now I take this current wire like this and I connect this to a battery here. Okay, you only assume this straight line. Now, let us say this is A, this is B. Start supplying the current. So what can you experience? We see the magnetic field coming here. Okay. the magnetic field is created. So the magnetic field lines around the straight line conductor are concentric centers where the magnetic lines are emerging. I'll tell you the meaning. Can you see? If it is a circle like this is the magnetic field. All these circles are magnetic field. The current is flowing in the middle of that circle. Okay. So how can we define the magnetic field here? The magnetic field is, any doubts? Okay. So the magnetic field is here the concentric circle. In geometry you might have studied. In the circles we have two kind of circles. Concentric is there is only one center. Using that same center we can draw many circles. But the radiuses are different. This can be 5, 10, 15 like that. This is called concentric. So our magnetic field here is also a concentric circular field. Okay. Now, is that useful? Will that be more powerful or not? Let us see the observation. When the current is upward, when the current is moving in this way, okay, so the magnetic field is anti-clockwise. Let us imagine there is a clock in front of you. Up one is the 12 number. So if it moves from 12 to 1, it is clockwise. But if it moves from 12 to 11, 10, 9 in the reverse order, that is called anti-clockwise. So similarly, you imagine the same clock. Now you have the 12 starting at 12. The same clock, you make it like this. Keep it in a horizontal plane. Can you imagine the clock? So which is your anti-clockwise? This way. Correct? This way. It comes like this. This is the anti-clockwise. So if you move the current upwards, then it is anti-clockwise. Come again, reverse the current, send the current from top to bottom like this. What happens? If you reverse the direction of the current, the magnetic field is now clockwise. It changes its direction, it moves like this. Okay. Understood? So what did we observe? If you take a straight wire and conduct electricity, then the magnetic field is a concentric circle. Around it we have many circles, that is the magnetic field. If you make the current to go upward, it goes in anti-clockwise direction. What does it go? The magnetic field. If you make the current to come from top to bottom, that is from here to B to A, then the direction of magnetic field is clockwise. Okay, that is the observation we made. There are some more things we need to remember. In the straight line path, if you supply more and more current, the magnetic field becomes more stronger. Okay, let us say you used 1 ampere current. The strength will be accordingly. If you use 2 ampere current, then the strength will increase. If you use 3 ampere current, then the strength of the magnetic field increases. So what we can say, the magnetic field is directly proportional to the current passing in the wire. Like the more apples you eat, more energy you get. So the more current the conductor gets, more is the magnetic field. Magnetic field is directionally proportional to electric current. There is one more thing. It is inversely proportional to the distance of that point from the wire. Now we have first circle. Okay, this is the current carrying conductor. From here to here, let us say only 5 meter radius is available, or let us say 1 centimeter radius. So in the first circle, the magnetic field is very strong. You move to the second circle, let us say from the center to the second circle, the radius is 2 centimeter. The strength decreases. Earlier, whatever the magnetic field was stronger, now it is slower than that, or compared to the first field, the second field is weaker in the strength. Okay. Similarly, the third one, the fourth one, and the last magnetic field is the weakest of all. Weakest among all. Okay. So how can we write? It is inversely proportional to the distance between center of the wire. As in when you move far away from the center of the wire, the strength decreases. That is why I am using inversely. The less chocolates you eat, more healthy you be. The more and more chocolates or junk food you eat, less and less your health becomes. Means you are not healthier. Understood? So please relate these examples to these concepts. This is the observation we did here. Okay. Now we have understood the strength of the magnetic field, what kind of material we need to use. But what is the direction? Yesterday I have told you magnetic field is a vector quantity. So do you people remember what I mean by vector quantity? Vector quantity means both. Vector quantity is it has both the magnitude and the direction. Magnitude means now I will run for 50 kilometers. Okay. So 50 kilometer per hour. No, I will have 25 kilometer per hour speed. My speed is 25 kilometer per hour. If I keep on running, I can cover 25 kilometers in 1 hour. Okay, that was my speed. Then which direction did I run? People will say Usha ran towards north direction. Okay, so I have both direction and the magnitude. Hence, speed is called a vector quantity. Similarly, magnetic field is also a vector quantity. I am defining the numbers here. Along with that, there is direction. Okay, let us see how to detect the direction. Now let us all use our right hands. Okay, so we have this right hand. In this right hand, the thumb is taken at the straight path. Okay, now imagine this is the current carrying conductor. Okay, this is the straight line. I had drawn a wire here, right? So this wire is represented by the thumb finger. Okay, now surround your hand around. Okay, can you see? If you surround your hand around, what happens? The thumb is like this marker. Okay, so surrounded, what can you see? If there is a straight line of current flowing and the magnetic field is around it, isn't it? The magnetic field is around the current. Okay, it's very simple concept, but the simple things has to be told by great people. So a person called Maxwell gave this concept of right hand rule, or Maxwell's corkscrew rule. It is called as Maxwell's corkscrew rule. What do you mean by corkscrew? You know this the Pepsi or Coca-Cola, which comes in a glass bottle, which is available in the condiment shop. So before they give you, they use a opener. Okay, so their caps are like little different. They are sealed. Okay, so that is called cork. So it uses this concept. Fine. So according to this concept, what he tells, if you open up your right hand and if your thumb is straightened, then the thumb is representing the direction of current, whereas the other fingers which are encircling are representing the magnetic field. So did you get the direction how it is? Now let us move on to the next shape, that is circular loop. What's the time? Okay. Next one is circular loop. So take a circular loop. This is a board to support it. Okay. So this is a circular loop connected to. Forget about the below part, but can you see? It is almost circular in shape. So now, what happens if you pass the current around it? Obviously, magnetic field has to be generated. How it is generated? It is both the ways. This way. Okay. So it is around the, I'm sorry. Okay, so if this is a loop, circular loop of wire, then you pass electricity around throughout that circular path, then you see that the electricity is generated at both the ends, isn't it? Even at the top it is generated, but it keeps deviated. Okay, so you get a magnetic field around both the loops of the circular loop. Okay. Now, what is that observation we are going to do here? The magnetic field strength is directly proportional to the current passing through the circular loop. Same as like we studied in the straight line. Here also, it is directly proportional. If your magnetic field has to be stronger, you need to supply more and more electricity. Okay. So, magnetic field is directly proportional to the electric current that is supplied through the circular loop. What is the next thing that we are going to observe? So the radius. Now let us say there is a center for this loop and see the radius. Okay, in the first coil you might take 5 centimeter radius. You take one more coil where your radius is 2 centimeter. Here it was 5 centimeter. The magnetic field is inversely proportional to the radius of the loop. The more the radius you take, less is the magnetic field. The lesser the radius you take, more is the magnetic field. So it is here. Here we have less radius, that is only 2 centimeter. So more is the magnetic field. Here we have 5 centimeter of radius. So magnetic field is lesser. The strength of the magnetic field is weak here. So did you get the point? Same point like in the first experiment. There it was the distance between the center of the wire to the concentric circles. Here it is the radius. That's all. So how can we say? The magnetic field is inversely proportional to the radius of the coil or loop. Okay. So that is what the observation we did. And one more thing. You can add more and more turns here. Bring one more wire, create one more loop here, then create one more loop. Side by side keep many loops. The more the number of loops you bring in or the number of turns of the wires you make, the magnetic field strength increases. Isn't it? Because the one field gives you, let us say, some X amount of magnetic field. If you add one more loop, definitely it is doubled, right? Doubled or it is increased. So more and more the number of turns of a loop increases the magnetic field. So this is one more observation we make. But students, please remember, when you are constructing the experiment, draw the neat table diagram and explain the diagram in 2 or 3 words. Like take a circular loop, connect them to a battery, let us say the current is passed from A to B, just mark A here, B here. Now what is the observation we make? Okay, define that in 3 or 2 sentences, then you tell what are the observations you make. Understood? Next. So finally what we can conclude, the magnetic field in a circular loop can be increased by the number of turns in the wire, by the increase of the radius or decrease, and by the increase of current. Okay, so these are the 3 factors we have observed. And in this concept, we need to know the polarity of the magnet. Now, this is a iron wire, okay, which is in a loop structure. So what I made, in this loop structure, I supplied the electric current. So it created the magnetic field around, everything is done. But what is the pole of this magnet now? Pole means the north and south pole. How can we identify? If we had a bar magnet, we can say there is a north pole, there is a south pole. But here, how can you identify the pole? Is that possible? Yes, it is possible by, again, another concept called clock phase rule. Okay. So clockwise rule, which tells us which is the pole. Is the front portion north or south? You cannot just say, right? You need to conduct some experiment and tell is the first position is north or the back position is north. Okay? It is like a coin. Okay? The front face, is it north or south? How do you find out? It is using the clock phase rule. Clock phase rule tells us a current carrying in a circular loop behaves like a thin disc magnet. When current is going in a circular loop, it behaves like a thinness, very smaller in its thickness. Okay, thin magnet, disc-like magnet, Disk is, you know, the CD. The CDs which we use. Okay, acts as a disc-like magnet, and whose one face is the north and other face is the south. In this disk, the one face will be the north and other face will be the south. Which is north, which is south? It is told by, according to this clock face rule, if the current along the face is circular wire, then you observe that if it is in the clockwise direction, then the front facing face is called south. In this coil, if the current is going in the clockwise direction, clockwise is what? This is 12, this is 3, which is going from 12 to 3. This is clockwise. If the current is moving in the clockwise direction, then the front face of the magnet is south. Obviously, the back face is north. The back face is north. Okay. Similarly, take the magnet, supply the current in the clockwise, anti-clockwise direction. Then this is the north. The back position is the south. This is the clock face rule concept. Okay. Then the clock face rule concept is also used in some of the experiments or some of the devices, like it is also used in the solenoid, which is the next topic we are going to describe or discuss. In that also we use the CFC rule, clock face rule, and as well as it is used in the electromagnets. So the whole world is made up of electromagnets. The mobiles that we are using has electromagnet. The iron box which we are using, the magnetic levitation trains, so many things, the cranes. So there also, if you want to detect which is the north and south pole, we will be using the clock face rule. Okay. Now the next experiment or the next shape that we are going to take is solenoid. 40 minutes. Okay, the next concept is solenoid. So we were studying about 3 different shapes. The last shape is solenoid. As I told you, solenoid is a wire which has multiple coils in between. Okay, it is similar like a bar magnet. Just imagine there was a bar magnet, supply current to that. Isn't it? It would have been like this. Here we don't have a uniform cross section, but we have a multiple curves in between. Okay. So this is a solenoid. In this, what are the observations that we are going to make? The magnetic field produced in the solenoid is similar to a magnetic field produced by a bar magnet. And here we see there is parallel lines coming out. The parallel lines are the magnetic field. In the beginning we had concentric. The second diagram we had again circular kind of thing, where in the near to the radius we had more magnetic field strength. Away from the circle we had less strength. But here we have parallel lines. Parallel lines means they're uniform, isn't it? First of all, the parallel lines of magnetic field is created and it is uniform. In the beginning, when we move further, the magnetic field strength was reducing. But here, at each point, if you measure, it is the same strength that you can observe. Okay, and at the end, you have this kind of magnetic field. If you want to identify the pole, you can either use the clock face rule or just bring a bar magnet here. Let us say this is the north pole of the bar magnet, and you observe here, if the magnet attracts, which means there is south here. If it repels, then this is the north pole. Okay, let us assume it got repelled. Okay, so this is the north. Obviously, the opposite one is south. Okay, so this is how we find out the poles of the solenoid. Then, the observations that we are going to make here is, before the observations, the observations that are made is, the magnetic field strength is more powerful if you supply more and more current. What are the observations? It is directly proportional. It means magnetic field. Magnetic field is directly proportional to the electric current. Secondly, it is again directly proportional to the number of turns. Let us say there are only 5 turns here. So it gives you X amount of magnetic field. If you increase the turns, make it as 10, then definitely your x will become 2x or 3x, not lesser than that. Okay. So the number of turns. At last, please use a proper material for the solenoid. If you use soft iron or iron particles or nickel cobalt, the strength is good. Okay, you can see a very good strength of that electromagnet. But if you use any other method, metals which is not a core material, then the strength will decrease. So what we can write here, the nature of core material. Nature of core material. So it is advised to use soft iron. Soft iron is the one which makes that substance get converted into a magnet very soon. That is what is needed, right? You want that object to be turned into a magnet as soon as possible. If it takes longer duration, then there will be lot of energy wasted, time wasted. So soft iron is preferable. So these are the 3 observations that we are going to make. Now let us understand electromagnet. So far we studied 3 types, 3 shapes to create the magnetic field. And in the beginning we studied about electromagnetism, and that object is called as electromagnet. Now if the object is given to you and if it is set as electromagnet, how do you define that object? So there is a proper definition for electromagnet. Let us write that. Okay. Electromagnet. So it is an object. Electromagnet is a object, or it can be a magnet, consisting of a long coiled copper material. Okay, it's a copper wire which is made into a coil. It is a long coil of insulated copper. So here the core material is copper, wrapped around a soft iron. Wrapped around a soft iron. Keep a iron piece there, then you coil that with a copper wire. Okay, you understand? Solenoid had only coils, but here we are adding one soft iron piece. Okay, so there are 2 things here. This is now called as electromagnet. Okay, earlier this material was called as just iron. Now I am making this as electromagnet. So it is a long coil of insulated copper wire wrapped around a soft iron piece. Only when electric current is supplied, it becomes an electromagnet. Okay, please make a note, only when electric current is supplied. If you switch off the electric current, this material is no more an electromagnet. It is just an iron piece. Okay, it's just an iron rod. Understood? So it is a long coil of insulated copper wrapped around a soft iron piece. Only when electric current is supplied, it gets converted into an electromagnet. Isn't it easy? You can define this, right? Now, let us understand some properties of this electromagnet and the special features. So the core of an electromagnet must be a soft iron. As I have told you in the previous segment, solenoid, the core should be soft iron. Why soft iron? Because the soft iron loses all its magnetism when the current is stopped in the coil. It is like a puppet. It acts as that to perform. Supply electric current, immediately it shifts to a magnetic material. Stop the electric flow, it immediately comes back to its iron property. Okay, so soft iron is more user friendly. Okay, and there are some metals like steel. Steel should not be used to prepare an electromagnet, because once you supply electricity to the steel, it permanently or it gets into electromagnetic property for a long while. Okay, it cannot be switched often as you want. Okay, now the factors affecting electromagnetism. Like, what are the various factors which makes the material to become a magnet and to lose its magnetism? The first factor is the number of turns of the coil. Same like in solenoid, use more and more turns around your soft iron, it becomes an electromagnet. The current flow, the more current you supply, more is the electromagnetism. Lesser the current you supply, lesser is the electromagnetism. Finally, the length of air gap between the poles. So we discussed three things: number of turns, then electric current. The last one is, see, when you wrap, you are leaving a gap, right? The gap is what? Air gap. So lesser the air gap, more is the magnetic field strength. More the air gap, lesser is the magnetic field strength. Okay. So try to reduce the number of the space between each turns. Okay. So these are the three factors where the electromagnet depends upon. Now, similarly, if you want to find out the pole of the electromagnet, bring a bar magnet, keep it at each end and check which is the north or south pole. So that I have already shown you. And one more thing to remember, so there is other way. We know that clock face rule. If it is anti-clockwise, then the first direction is south. If the flow of current is clockwise, then the first phase is north. Okay, you can use that clock phase rule as well, or you can bring a bar magnet and check it out. Now, there are many uses of electromagnets. As I told you, it is used in hospitals to remove particles of iron or steel from a patient's eye. Our eye is exposed to a lot of dust and light every day. Minute particles of iron and dust pieces keeps going into our eye, especially the workers who work in the industries and especially in the iron and steel industries or some other metal manufacturing industry. So to remove that hazardous material, they use electromagnets for that therapy. And as you know, I have told you magnetic levitation trains, that is simply called as maglev. There we have the huge application of electromagnets. Now, last concept for today. What is the difference between a bar magnet and an electromagnet? Let us take bar magnet here and an electromagnet. Okay, so we know bar magnet is naturally available and it is a permanent magnet. Naturally available permanent magnet. Here it is artificially made or it is created by us. Artificially made, or it can be a temporary magnet. Only till you supply the electric current, the magnet remains as an electromagnet. Once you stop the electric current, the magnet goes back to its original property. Then, what is the other property of it? A permanent magnet produces comparatively weak force of attraction. Here, the force of attraction is weak. Let us say you bring a small iron piece near the bar magnet, it attracts very slowly. Whereas here in the electromagnet, you bring a small iron piece, it attracts very quickly. That is why you see the cranes, big cranes, they can easily lift large amount of garbages or a damaged car or anything which is made up of iron. So here the force of attraction is strong. Then the strength of a permanent magnet cannot be changed. Here the bar magnet cannot be made as a strong magnet. You cannot add anything, or you cannot beat that magnet, or you cannot paint that magnet to make it stronger. This magnet cannot be made stronger. If you are weak, your mother gives you nutritional food, fruits, etc., etc., so you become strong. But here this cannot be made. But here you can make this stronger and stronger. So we know the factors on which it depends. The more number of coils you add, the strength increases. The more number of current you supply, the electromagnet strength increases. So here it can be made stronger. Then the last point, the north and south polarity of a permanent magnet is fixed and cannot be changed. The magnet's north and south pole cannot be changed, right? If you have a bar magnet and if you call the left part as north and the right part as south, it remains the same throughout. You cannot change the polarity. But here in the electromagnet, if you change the current flowing direction, that is the anti-clockwise is giving you south. The clockwise is giving you north pole. If you change the current direction again, it changes, right? So here the polarity can be changed. Here it cannot be changed. Understood? It cannot be, it can be. So this is what the topic we had for today. Prepare well, then we'll continue in the next class. Stop the video.
Okay, Akka.